Hi, this is my H&K SP5 video. I'm going to talk about my first impressions and then kind of my plans for this pistol. You've seen a bunch of unboxings, so I'm not going to unbox it. Truly, I've got everything that it does come with in the bag. You get this nice little bag. If you've seen my Mark 23 video, you'll see that there's this like hook and loop system where you can Velcro on certain supports for the pistol. It's pretty nice, and you can reconfigure it, especially if you were to put a stock on your MP5 or a brace, be able to fit everything in there. Why did I get this pistol? There's a few other options for MP5 clones. There is the AP5 from Century Arms, made by MKE in Turkey. They are made on HK tooling, and they are a bit cheaper than the SP5 from HK. But H&K makes kind of the most legit MP5 clone or semi-automatic clone. There is also the PTR version. I don't remember what it's called, but that's an American-made one. Some people run into problems, but some people have good luck. I think it's just a little bit hit or miss. But I think people tend to either, they want a clone and not the HK, then they typically go for the Century Arms AP5 because it's made on the HK tooling. And Turkey seems to be, they seem to know what they're doing when they're making firearms. Anyway, so the reason I bought this one is that the SP5 kind of was a bit expensive. There were people kind of gouging the prices because the supply was pretty low. It would kind of go above MSRP for a bit. When it did first come out during the pandemic, I think the prices were reasonable. This is still really expensive, but they were around the MSRP. But now it has since dropped because they've kind of picked up the supply of making these. So these are kind of easier to find, and you'll occasionally find a sale. Rooftop Defense had them for $2,500 with a $100 credit. I missed out on that one, but I had been looking on Reddit gun deals ever since. I did pick this one up from, it's like DeLeon Pharmacy and Guns, or DeLeon, I don't know how you pronounce it. They're in Texas, and they were selling it for $23.48. The enticing thing was that they did not charge tax, and they charged $20 for shipping. I paid $30 for my transfer fee, so I got it for just under $2,400. Now, if I were to buy this in my home state, I didn't find anywhere that was selling it for under MSRP. They were selling it for basically $3,000. If you pay tax on the $3,000, you're paying like $3,200 to $3,300. So I saved about 900 bucks on this. And I do like to support my local businesses, but when you're going to charge upwards of 40% more, it's really a no-brainer to kind of get it online. Okay, so what does it come with? It comes with 2 magazines. You can get the 10-round version in the banned states. Sometimes the 10-round version is a little bit cheaper, but just know that there's not a big demand for it, and then they do want to ship them to the banned states. You're not really going to save money because you're going to have to buy these, or if you want 30-round mags, you're going to have to buy them anyway, and they're pretty expensive. I think they're like more than $50. So I would opt to get the ones with the 30-round mags. You'll get this H&K sight tool, aka a Phillips head screwdriver. It's a nice Phillips head screwdriver. It's a little stubby one. And then on the back there is a elevation tool. Allows you to change the elevation on the sight, which we will talk about in a little bit. Then you get a bungee sling. So this is in a pistol configuration. So because there's no brace or stock, shooting with the rear sight, it's kind of like a ghost ring. Shooting with it with 2 hands on the gun kind of just floats. It's really hard to kind of shoot, especially under the recoil, even though the recoil of this is not that much. This bungee allows you to have an extra point of stability, although it is elastic. If you pull it taut on the rear of the pistol with the mount, it will give you a little bit more of a stable shooting position, but most people opt to put a brace on it, if not a stock, and SBR it. So the brace, this is August of 2024. The brace option is now an option still. With that injunction, it looks like things are supposed to be better, but who knows? Things have changed. They said they're legal, they're illegal. They're legal, they're illegal. Like you can have it, but you can't shoulder it. Who knows? But as for now, seems like it could be it could be okay. Okay, so let's go on to the pistol itself. Just some basic things that you want to know about the pistol from the tip to the back. It comes with the tri-lug adapter, so you can put on some quick detach muzzle devices or suppressors. On the front, it has 1/2x28 threading. That is not what it came with on the MP5 originally, I believe, but 1/2x28 is a very common threading thread pitch for 9mm. So for the American market, it really just makes sense to put the 1/2x28 threading on there. Standard plastic foregrip, and then a standard plastic lower parts kit, or not a lower parts kit, lower trigger group, I guess, or trigger housing. On the gun, it's black. It's not blued. I think, this is made out of folded steel. This is HK's, I don't know, their proprietary paint. I don't know if it's spray painted. It is put on pretty evenly, and I've read in forums that people have been able to recreate it by doing some sort of powder coating. Yes, you can do the HK slap as many times as you want. That's part of the perks of getting one of these things. On the lower trigger housing, you got two positions, fire and safe. And I think a lot of people like to have the pictograms with the burst fire or the auto fire. You can get these engraved, or you can get the other trigger housing from like HK parts to replace this. If you do buy a trigger housing, I haven't fully researched this, but it's not just you can't just get whatever you want and put it on. It does need to be slightly modified, and I think the procedure is called a clip and pin. They will usually, on the MP5 there is a pin here, a roll pin here. On the semi-automatic version, there is no pin. So the clip, I think they have to modify kind of the area where it engages with the metal parts of the firearm. But also for the pin, they don't add a pin that you can actually insert. What they do is they epoxy like a hockey puck of the pin. So they cut it, and then they epoxy it in there. So it gives you the illusion of there being a pin, but you can't actually press it. I don't know, that seems, I think people like it because it looks more authentic, but like, because it serves kind of no functional purpose, it's a little bit, I don't know, I have mixed feelings about it. The rear sight. Now the rear sight on the original SP5s, not the original, but the early production SP5s, they came with a notch sight. So the notch sight is probably a bit easier to shoot in its pistol configuration, but if you are to put a brace on it, or if you are to put a stock on it, shooting with that notch sight, it's just not as good as shooting with this drum sight with the peepholes. So HK now ships them with the peepholes, so you don't need to go and change that part out. I don't remember how much that part was, but it's HK, so you're probably going to have to pay more than what you want, maybe upwards of $50 to $100 or something for like the drum. Other than that, that's basically it. The things I think about it, I was really excited to get this. I had an airsoft MP5, but it's nice to have like kind of this real steel, thing to hold. I will probably put a brace on it. I'm in the process of kind of moving, but once I kind of settle, like I think I'm about to like be somewhere for a while, I will probably SBR this and actually get a stock. I know a kind of in between is to get a brace, but the braces for this, they just don't look that great. So when I do decide to finally get a brace or a stock, I will be sure to update you. But I just blew $2,400 on this, so I'm not in any rush to spend more money. There's the A3 stocks. I think they're like $500, and if you want like a HK like a more old school A3 stock, I think, because there's like a few versions. There's an A3 and an A3F. The A3 stock, I think, is like upwards of $1,000. So I'm not ready to blow another, $1,000 on this yet. But when I do, I will be sure to tell you. The other thing that I'm kind of disappointed with this firearm is the rollmark. So yes, we are Milsurp Cat. So what we do is we like to look at markings, roll marks, things like that. And the roll marks on this they leave a little bit to be desired. The early generation SP5s, I think they were actually roll marked on the top with an SP5. And then I think they moved on to mechanically engraving it and then painting it. This one looks like they painted it, and then after the fact, they laser engraved it. So the roll marks are quite shallow on this SP5. And I just don't think they look that great. Now, you can get them re-engraved by people, but it costs a lot. And I think they need to totally refinish your gun. So I think it's like $400, $500 or something like that. And the SP5 is so small on this that I can't justify spending $500 for just a little mark. Now, I will probably do that if I were to get this SBR, because you do need to get it engraved when you get your tax stamp, or to get your tax stamp and things like that. So if I were to get this SBR'd and get the engraving, if they were going to engrave it, I guess I might as well get that re-engraved. So I might do that at that point. I've seen some people get it re-engraved with like an MP5N. I don't think it's going to add any value to the gun. Actually, it probably would depreciate some of the value from the gun. But this is a gun that I'm going to keep for, until I die. So I don't really care about that. I'm just going to get it to look the way I want it to look. Other things I might do, I could do the clip and pin, but you can also just get your lower engraved with the pictograms. You can get the burst and the auto fire. I think that would look really cool. I know that there are other housings that you can get, and even Magpul makes a housing, but I'm trying to keep this kind of classic looking. I don't really want to soup it up with like Magpul stuff. On the foregrip, there are many offerings for different rails on it. I think B&T makes a rail. And I think as these become more popular and they kind of permeate the market and like people start getting it, they're going to start giving other options. I'm really not into those sort of things. Like, again, this is a collector's channel, so I like to keep things classic. I think what I would consider putting on there is one of the Knights Armament tri-rails, but they're pretty expensive, and I don't know if they're discontinued or not. You know how Knights Armament works. They kind of just make parts when they want to make parts. They are mainly kind of filling their contracts out, things like that. That tri-rail does have an adapter for a rail on top, or you can use a claw mount to put a rail on top. I'm not into the rail, honestly. I like the way the MP5 looks without the rail, so I'm probably just going to leave that bare bones and just go for a stock and maybe a tri-rail. Anyway, that's my MP5. Those are my plans. I will be sure to update you if I, change anything with this pistol. This pistol's not going anywhere. I'm not in any rush to change anything. And I don't think the parts, maybe the stocks might get a little bit more expensive, but other than that, not really in a rush to change things out right now. And in other news, my subscriber count is 997. I started making YouTube videos a long time ago. This channel's been active for a while. I've had some videos that I've since deleted as well. But I started I changed the name, and I started having like more gun content and Milsurp content. I wouldn't call this a gun channel. I would call this more of a military collector's channel. I started that a year ago. I watched a few videos on some helmets and PVS 14s, and I was like, you know what, I got a bunch of stuff that I'd like to share. Why don't I start making videos? So I did that about a year ago, and the goal has been basically to get into the YouTube partnership program, where you need 4,000 hours and 1,000 subscribers. So we're almost at the subscribers, and we are very close to the watch time to get into that program. Hopefully, there's no issues in actually getting in, but this channel will never really make a lot of money, in my opinion. I have a job that I really like, and I do not want to be a YouTuber or an influencer. But if I make some extra cash from this, just know that all of that cash will be put back into the channel, and probably some of my own personal cash will be put into the channel. And that means getting more things to collect, getting more, better lighting, better cameras, things like that. And maybe upping the production value, and also doing maybe some like kind of cool giveaways. It's never going to be like giveaway gun parts or anything like that, but I got like a 3D printer, so we can make some cool like mementos or keychains or something like that, and I'd be happy to give those away using money from the channel. So for anyone who subscribed in the last year, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate it. Making these videos is really fun. For me, it's just a way for me to share some of the stuff that I have. I am going to be kind of moving soon. My guns are in 2 places. I have so many more like things to show you, and I'm going to start aggregating my collection. So be on the lookout for, in the next year, there's going to be a lot more content on a lot of stuff that I have. Every time I try to show a video, I'm like, oh, I'm missing this thing or I'm missing that thing. It'd be really cool to just have everything at my grasp to show you. And in the future, there's going to be a video on a P226 that I have been looking for the last 4 months, and I will tell you the story of what P226 I wanted and why I wanted it. It's not a super collectible one, but it means a lot to me. I will be showing that in the future. So again, thank you for subscribing. Anyone who's been doing the likes or just kind of leaving funny comments, that's totally awesome. It makes me really happy. So I appreciate you guys, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.